Before you leave office, will you let us know if there's aliens? Because this is the only thing I really want to know. I want to know what's going on. Would you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there?
So many people ask me that question.
I know, it sounds almost ridiculous, but it's actually the real question I want to know.
It sounds like a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
So you're saying you may declassify? Oh. You'll take it?
Well, I'll have to think about that one, right? I'll have to think.
A former Air Force officer who worked for years in military intelligence came forward as a whistleblower to reveal that the U.S. government has physical evidence of crashed non-human-made aircraft, as well as the bodies of the pilots who flew those aircraft. The Pentagon has spent decades studying these otherworldly remains in order to build more technologically advanced weapons systems. Okay, that's what the former intel officer revealed, and it was clear he was telling the truth. In other words, UFOs are actually real, and apparently so is extraterrestrial life.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about what is a bombshell story that could be a historic moment in world history, as former military and intelligence officials testified to a congressional panel today that they have seen UFOs and said that they could pose risk to national security. Now, again, this is truly a bombshell hearing for multiple reasons, not just the accusation that, hey, they're UFOs, or what they call UAPs now, okay, unidentified aerial phenomenon, flying around in U.S. airspace, potentially screwing around with our military. Allegedly, they've been screwing around with our nukes as well, too. A national security concern, to say the least, but that's just not it, okay? There was actually some bombshell testimony here from a former military official turned UFO whistleblower, David Gruch, in which he says that not only have the U.S. government been conducting crash and retrieval operations, okay, UFOs apparently crashed, okay, and the U.S. government has retrieved them and also engaged in trying to reverse engineer craft, which is fascinating to think about because I'm not exactly sure how a craft that I guess presumably can travel millions and millions and millions of light years across the universe, across space to come to Earth, can just crash, right? I'm not sure how that works. I mean, were the aliens out drunk driving, right? Were they baked? Were they hanging out with Hunter Biden and Paul Pelosi? Okay, I'm just saying. I got a whole lot of questions about how such craft with alleged advanced technologies could crash land here on Earth. But I guess stranger things have happened. Not only that, but the U.S. has also discovered non-human biological materials as well, too.
Intelligent extraterrestrials.
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super, thank you, and I yield back.
So there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here because they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're saying that you heard that. Now, I'm not sure if this is a psyop, okay, if this is Project Bluebeam, okay, which is basically a theory that the government is going to stage a fake alien invasion in order to usher the world into one world government, okay, to abolish all major religions and to unite the world under, I guess, one agenda, because we believe that we're fighting against aliens, okay, who are invading the earth. Now, I'm not sure how the government would stage that, okay? I'm not sure if this is the beginning of that or what. There's a lot of things I just simply don't know. Only thing I can do is speculate. But who knows? I mean, it could be a distraction. I mean, if it is a distraction, it's not a very good distraction because a lot of people don't seem to care too much about this. Primarily because we have much more pressing issues, okay? And I think, we live in a world where, there are cameras everywhere, right? And it's kind of hard to believe that you have all this alleged UFO activity going on, but we can't really capture a smoking gun on camera, right? Again, it's just fascinating to think about, but I guess there could be various explanations for why, okay? I mean, maybe these aliens are super smart and maybe they have the ability to block, humans or technology from being able to record them. Maybe that's why. I mean, who knows? Again, maybe you need advanced military, detection system or surveillance in order to detect them. I'm not sure, okay? But again, I just got a lot of questions, okay? Because I think that anything short of actual UFOs landing on the White House lawn is not really going to move the needle in regards to this being a very good distraction, right? I think a lot of people are just ignoring this because ultimately, at the end of the day, until we actually see some real proof and evidence, and I'm talking about again, aliens pulling up on the White House lawn, I think people are going to ignore this. And even if they did, okay, there would be no sign of intelligent life anywhere near Washington. So they might just get up and leave, right? And say, this planet ain't worth it, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? But what I do know is that you guys could thank Trump for this. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that because I've been following a lot of this stuff. I've been following all this stuff. I'm actually very interested in this topic, in this subject. The UFO disclosure stuff started under Trump. I believe in the last stimulus package that Trump signed, he actually kind of kicked off the disclosure that is happening right now with the government. Okay, again, I'm not sure exactly why this is happening at this very moment. Again, could it be some type of psyop for a larger conspiracy? Who knows? Maybe it can be a push by the military to get more funding because, a potential alien invasion. Again, I don't know, right? But it is something that is fascinating and something to watch. And this guy basically admitting that the government has recovered non-human biological or biologics under oath is a big deal, okay? This could be a pivotal moment in human history. I think it does have a lot of implications for religion. And I think it's something to pay attention to regardless of whether or not you think it's a distraction. If it's not a distraction, if it's real, then again, this is a pivotal moment in human history, okay, where we basically are confirming that we are not alone, okay? But until then, I think the real alien invasion that we need to worry about is at the border, which they just so happen to have a hearing on today as well. And as per the usual, the Democrats were an absolute mess trying to convince the American people that we're not currently experiencing an alien invasion at the border. Take a look.
Recognize the ranking member, Mr. Nadler.
Mr. Secretary, I want to address some of the outlandish claims my colleagues have made and put them to rest at the outset of this hearing. My Republican colleagues claim that the border is open. Is the border open, Mr. Secretary?
No, it is not.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The border is not open, and to say so is not only false, but is really an insult to the brave men and women of the Border Patrol who work every day to keep us safe.
True. But at any rate, MAGA Republican extremists want to sell us on an apocalyptic fantasy. They want the American people to believe that the border is out of control, that drugs are flowing in freely, that September 11th style terrorists are infiltrating with impunity, and that Latino immigrants are coming to rape, rob, and murder our families. But in reality, the greatest threat facing our homeland is white nationalist ideology that lies beneath such rhetoric.
Secretary Mayorkas, on April 28th, 2022, I ask you, quote, will you testify under oath right now? Do we have operational control, yes or no, end quote. You responded with, quote, yes, we do, period, end quote. I then asked, we have operational control of the borders? You responded, quote, yes, we do, period, end quote. Followed up, I said, I read to you the definition of operational control. I actually held up this chart, operational control as defined under the Secure Fence Act. Put it up for plain reading, plain as day. I put up the second part of the same statute, which defines operational control. Means the prevention of all unlawful entries in the United States, including entries by terrorists, other unlawful aliens, instruments of terrorism, narcotics, and other contraband. I said to you, do you stand by in your testimony that we have operational control in light of this definition? You responded with, quote, I do, period, end quote. Earlier, you testified I didn't give you a chance to finish. Yet you specifically, when asked and held up a statute defining exactly what operational control meant under the Secure Fence Act, you said, quote, I do. I believe that was purposeful. I believe you want the American people to believe we have operational control of the border when we very clearly do not.
Yeah, so here we have Democrats crying white supremacy in response to the real alien invasion that is happening at the border, okay? Again, if they're actually non-human aliens, okay, that have come to our planet, the easiest way for them to get into our country is to cross the border, okay? Because last month, Border Patrol agents recorded just over 100,000 apprehensions, okay, migrants who entered the United States illegally along the southern border. Now, this is a significant drop from May, which had 169,000, okay, and the Biden administration is trying to take a victory lap on this, okay, because in May, the daily illegal border crossings peaked at about 10,000, which was a record before officials terminated Title 42, which basically allowed the U.S. government to expel migrants based off public health grounds without allowing them to claim asylum. Now, in June, the average daily migrant apprehensions dropped below 4,000. Now, what's going on here? Well, probably all the illegals that wanted to come, right? They probably all been let into the country, okay? So you probably have less of them. Who knows? Or maybe the Biden administration just stopped counting, right? The world may never know. But regardless, this is not something to take a victory lap on because 100,000 border crosses is still 100,000 illegals trying to get into this country every single month. That is a large town worth of illegals trying to get into this country every single month, crossing the border, okay? And Democrats only are concerned about it when they invade Democrat cities, right? So again, it's pretty fascinating stuff to behold how Democrats, you know, in response to this, they cry out white supremacy, okay? But these are the main people that are complaining about illegals nowadays, Democrats. They're the biggest people complaining about it, just the ones in the liberal cities, right? In which, again, the illegals have been bussed there because, again, these are sanctuary cities, okay? They love illegals. So regardless of the Democrats and their efforts to brainwash the American people to think that there is no border crisis, it doesn't seem to be working, as an overwhelming majority of Americans say border crisis is a major problem. Okay, so let's read about this because the Democrat diversion plan doesn't seem to be working here. An overwhelming majority of Americans say that the southern border is either in a state of crisis or a major problem, according to a new poll released this week. According to the new Gallup poll, 39% of Americans believe the border situation is a crisis, 33% believe it is a major problem, while only 22% believe it is a minor problem, and just 5% believe it isn't a problem. Again, those 5% need to get their brains checked, okay? Because it's definitely a problem. Okay, and even the 22% that believe it's a minor problem probably should be checked out as well too. That means that 72% believe that the border is either a crisis or a major problem. That is a tick lower than in 2019 when 74 said the same thing. The most notable change has been among Democrats. In 2019, 68% of Democrats said it was a crisis or major problem. That has now dropped to 56%, with just 17% saying it is a crisis. Ain't it amazing how that works, right? There's a border crisis under Trump, right? According to Democrats, they believe, more Democrats believe it was a crisis under Trump, even though under Trump, this was not happening nearly as much, okay? But when it's actually a historic crisis under Biden, less of them believe that it's a crisis. Again, Democrats, I don't know what to tell you, bro. These people are delusional, okay? They just simply are not in touch with reality. Among Republicans, 88% said it was a crisis or a major problem in 2019. Now it is 91%. Independents have gone from 70% rating it as such in 2019 to 71%. The border has been facing a massive and historic migrant crisis since early 2021. 2 years after the Trump administration faced a crisis in 2018. However, the numbers since 2021 have eclipsed those seen in 2019. There were over 1.7 million migrant encounters in fiscal year 2021 and more than 2.4 million in fiscal year 2022. Republicans have blamed the Biden administration for implementing policies they say have spurred migrants to make the journey north to be released into the U.S. Specifically, they highlight reduced interior enforcement, the expansion of catch and release, and the ending of Trump-era policies like border wall construction and the Remain in Mexico policy. Also, not to mention the Biden administration, right, when, Democrats were running in the primary because they have to appeal to the farthest of the far left, the lunatics, right, of the left. They basically encourage illegals to come, right? They told illegals, come, okay, bring everybody, right? They said that during the primary. And lo and behold, these people showed up in Biden-Harris shirts, when the guy was about to take office. The Biden administration has argued that it is working to fix an asylum system destroyed by the prior administration while dealing with a hemisphere-wide crisis. It is focused on expanding legal asylum pathways, including a controversial expansion of the use of humanitarian parole to wave migrants through into the U.S. It has combined that with an asylum rule, which limits migrants from claiming asylum if they have entered illegally and failed to claim asylum in a country through which they already passed. That rule is now facing multiple legal challenges. Yeah, so this is the current status of the border situation. I think that this is the real alien invasion that the American people should be paying attention to. Again, until the green little men, right, pull up on the White House lawn, we have brown men coming through on the border that we need to, be concerned about, okay? And, it's just amazing to me how, we have all this stuff going on right now. It's a whole lot of news, and I guess you could say that, the UAP stuff is a distraction from some more serious issues that, our country should be addressing. But regardless, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.